Hey everybody, welcome to TIW Podcast. I'm Eric, and today I watched WWE SmackDown Live episode 1045 and 205 Live episode 144, both broadcast on August 27th, 2019. I apologize for the audio quality of this episode. I don't have my microphone and stuff with me, and I'm currently in Las Vegas. It is very hot, so I have the AC on just nonstop to keep it at least somewhat bearable in the hotel room. But so that's what you're hearing in the background. It might sound like I'm like on an airplane or something, but it's just the air conditioning. But anyway, I'm gonna make this episode pretty quick. I think I did enjoy this episode. Both of these episodes, 205 Live especially. Oh man, go watch 205 Live. I say this every week, and it's true every week. You gotta go watch 205 Live. But before we get to that, we open up with Kofi Kingston and Randy Orton segment. Randy reads a letter from Kofi's son that asks him not to hurt Kofi because he's his hero. But he's not just his hero, but he's also his dad. So Kofi runs backstage, they brawl, and Randy hits him with a draping DDT into the concrete floor back there. And so he's dead. And then there's a Skittles commercial, or I think it was Finley. He says, "Go get a trainer." And then we cut to commercial. And during the commercials, we have the New Day Skittles commercial where they're icing down, not with ice, but with big bags of Skittles. And then we come back from a commercial break to Big E exiting the training room and being asked by, I think it was, who is she? It wasn't, it was, I can't remember who the interviewer was. But anyway, I thought that was pretty funny that you could put together those things, which I did. I with video taken from the screen of my iPad, so it's like really bad quality. But go to TIW Podcast on Twitter to see I posted on there. Those three things cut right together. But anyway, we find out that Big E will fight Randy Orton later in the night. Then we have a King of the Ring matchup, Buddy Murphy versus Ali. There was this match was ridiculous. It was awesome. This was actually my favorite match of the week. I would be tempted to say the main event of 205 Live was, as I do most weeks, but this match was basically a 205 Live match. And there was this one moment when Ali hit a tilt-a-whirl draping DDT, and I forget exactly what the commentary said, but they seemed really stunned by that, as was I. But Ali wins via 450 splash, and there's much rejoicing by many. And there's great show of respect between the two. Shaking of hands, quick hand thing before the match, and then a shaking of hands after the match. So that's really cool to see. Then we had The Miz versus Sami Zayn was supposed to take place, but after The Miz challenged Shinsuke Nakamura to an Intercontinental Championship match at the Clash of Champions, Sami comes out, and as Sami's talking, as he does, Miz does also a lot of that, Nakamura attacks, and they just destroy The Miz. Then we have Bayley versus Lacey Evans. For some reason, I don't know, but Bayley defeats her, and there you go. Then we have Randy Orton versus Big E. He hits an RKO on Big E after help from the Revival, because the referee was not looking, or is doing something. I don't know what the referee is doing. So Randy wins the match, and then they hit the Shatter KO afterwards, which I am very disappointed that they're not calling that on screen yet, because I think it was Tom who called it a super RKO, and then Corey called it a triple team RKO. Call it the Shatter KO. Come on. Do it. Do it. We see some highlights over the weekend of when R-Truth won the 24/7 championship, and then Ron Stone of Fox Sports won it for a second before Elias won it back. So King Elias comes out, or Elias comes out and sits on the throne, and I'd say it's a throne of lies. Kevin pops up from behind the throne, attacks him, and leaves him there stunned on the ground because he got hit by the stunner. And R-Truth tries to go for a pin, but Drake Maverick comes in and steals the win, steals the championship, and off he goes. And then backstage we see him escaping, not on the show, we have online video of him escaping backstage, and his wife is trying to run after him, but she's in heels, so she asks him to hold her shoes for a minute so she can keep up, and then she actually runs a whole lot faster than Drake, so he's the one being left behind. So that was a pretty fun extra segment online. Then we had the main event, Shelton Benjamin versus Chad Gable in another King of the Ring first round match. Chad won via a sunset flip pin combination thing, which is pretty cool. And so Chad will go on to face Elias next week, I think. I'm not sure. I don't have the bracket here with me. And then the closing segment of the night, Roman asks the crowd, should he apologize? And everybody says no. And Roman shows video from that fateful night where the stuff was pushed over on top of him. All the grid things and the gig cases and all that. And it shows a guy with a big guy with a red beard, and Daniel Bryan immediately turns on Roman and starts slapping the crap out of him. He says, "You're a liar, I hate liars," and all that. And Daniel comes rushing out to the ring and is explaining that Rowan was lying to him and that he had nothing to do with it. And Roman doesn't want to hear any of it. He just spears Daniel Bryan, and that's it for the night. So, I guess Rowan betrayed his lie by admitting to it or something, kind of. He started to admit to it. So I guess that kind of makes sense, but it was after Daniel turned on him very quickly, or it could have been the guy. Although, I guess it would make sense. Like, they knew that the guy that they got last week wasn't the person who did it. And seeing that video footage, Daniel Bryan then knew that, yes, it was Rowan. So I guess that could have... I'm going to go with that. But that spear was brutal, like, in the middle of Daniel Bryan talking, and that was pretty cool. And then over on Twitter, Tom Phillips takes the place of Vic Joseph, who is already in the UK at the Performance Center there, for some reason, or so they say. And both Nigel and Aiden are like, well, we're going to be there in Cardiff on Saturday, but we're still here, so I don't know what his deal is, kind of thing. Only 2 matches on this episode, but they're both very good. Kalisto versus Daivari. There's a moment where Kalisto had the match won, but he pulled Daivari's legs up into the pinning combination too far, and so his legs ended up going onto the ropes from there. So that was a fatal mistake by Kalisto. Daivari ends up getting the win. In a backstage interview, Tony Nese says he needs a change since just being a premier athlete isn't enough. So I'm interested to see where that goes. And then our main event, Oni Lorcan versus Humberto Carrillo. The winner will face Drew Gulak at Clash of Champions. Go watch this match. It's pretty great. But Umberto wins, and he'll face Drew Gulak. He will face his former teacher, his former mentor for the Cruiserweight Championship. Super notable about this episode is that they went with a lot of jib shots again, and they had that same look they had about like a month or so ago, and it was fantastic. I loved it. And I saw a lot of other comments about it. When they do that, people notice. At least a small number of people notice, anyway. And oh man, there's this one shot where it was from the jib, and it was up above the ring, and it was shooting across the diagonal to where Humberto Carrillo was on the top of the post and went for a moonsault, and then ended up getting feet to the face by Oney Lorcan getting his legs up. And it was all one shot on the jib, and it followed the action, and it was just beautiful. It was the greatest camera shot of wrestling that I've seen that I can remember. And then there was other Elimination Chamber. They do a lot of stuff like that too. They get the camera right up on, because they can be up on the pods and stuff. That they get some really great camera shots. At least this last Elimination Chamber. But anyway, then there was another one that they were going off the close post, and that was really cool too. But yeah, just the look, the camera movements, and all of that in this episode were fantastic, and I really do hope that they use that more. And maybe that's what my hope is, that's just what SmackDown looks like in general going forward, that they bring that over when they split crews, or so I've heard, that they'll have different crew on SmackDown than on Raw. But we'll see how that works out. It's only about a month away now, just over a month away. So we'll find out soon enough. So yeah, 205 Live especially, I really liked. And man, it's better than last week, when last week we had 0 women's matches. But man, two of the matches of the whole week, 2 of the women's matches of the whole week, they're both Bayley matches. And I guess with Becky Lynch not being on Raw, I guess it kind of makes sense. We got to have a champion on there, maybe. And I guess Alexa was out of action this week also. So, I mean, they did have Nikki Cross in there. She was one of the champions, and versus Bayley on Raw. But then Lacey Evans versus Bayley. Why not just switch those 2 around, I guess? Because Nikki Cross is she technically SmackDown? I don't know. It's all a mess currently. So real quick, a couple of the show. I did see 3 shows here in Las Vegas so far. Last night, which was Tuesday night, I saw Reve, The Dream. That was really cool. It's a lot of water stuff, which I think I knew, but I didn't really think about that. And I didn't even really think about what the show actually was, or anything like that. I didn't look into it, seeing what type of acts were in there. But there's lots of water stuff, swimming stuff, diving stuff, which is really cool. And also a lot of athletic stuff. The aerial stuff was really cool. Was great. And then just the whole production of it. It's in the round also, so that sets it apart from for sure. That the entire audience is around this pool, and the stage parts coming up and down and in and out and all that kind of thing. It was really cool. I recommend it. I also saw Mystere a second time, and I had forgotten a lot of the acts that were in this. And so I was like, oh yeah, this is great. And so I really enjoy it a second time. and I highly recommend that show as well. I think the first time I saw it, it felt like it was kind of like dated compared to other Cirque du Soleil shows, but this time I was just wrapped up into the performance of all the people, and it's not dated. It maybe might seem that way, just like it, but it's still awesome. It's still awesome. And also there's different clowns in this performance than the last time I saw it a few months ago. And I thought that the both times I really enjoyed the clown stuff anyway. So like, but I liked the girl baby clown a little bit more than the big burly man baby clown. If you've seen the show, you know what I'm talking about. Look up Mystere clowns, and you'll see in one of the clips it shows both of them in different performances. But that was pretty great again. And then and I got another shirt because I realized I packed only 3 shirts total, including the shirt that I wore, and I figured I should probably wear a shirt that's clean when I'm on the not a shirt that I've worn for 2 days when I fly back home. So I got another Cirque du Soleil shirt, but it's not specific to a show. It's kind of camouflage looking, but it's gray and it just says Cirque du Soleil on it. It's pretty cool. I like it. And then this afternoon, I saw Potted Potter, which is at Bally's in the Windows showroom. I don't know what it's called. Something like that. And I was a little bit frustrated today because a lot of my time was spent standing in box office lines, but really it was just one person. I was like the second person in line basically, and the one person that was in line from me took forever. Both times I stopped at box offices to pick up tickets, and that was super frustrating. And then the whole seating line situation for Potted Potter seemed like kind of a mess. I mean, it was fine. It just seemed like it was made more difficult than it needed to be. I don't know. I mean, they've done over 100 shows of that particular show there, and who knows how many more of other shows that are in that theater. So I guess that's the best way that they know how to do it. I don't know, but it was a little bit, it had me kind of stressed out when I really shouldn't have, because like this is all that I'm doing today. It's not like I was going in there to cover it for some type of big news story and to do it as part of a job or something like that. So anyway, when I was standing in the line, I was like, oh, I'm not going to recommend this to anyone because this is a mess. But once I actually saw the show, I do recommend that, especially if you have any interest at all in Harry Potter, or maybe if you are going there with somebody who does like Harry Potter and you don't like it, and then I think you'll both enjoy it, and then maybe have a fight afterwards, but maybe then see some common ground afterwards as well. I don't know. But yeah, the show was really, really fun. It's just 2 guys, and they're both really funny. And I think it's Joe and James are the guys that are currently performing the show. Because on the poster or the sign, it says it's a show by Jeff and Dave, who are not either of those guys. So I don't know what those guys are doing now. I don't know. But it was a lot of fun, and I recommend checking it out. And it is a daytime show, so you can fit it in with a bunch of other stuff throughout the day. I think it's usually at 4 p.m., or maybe it's only at 4 p.m. on the day I saw it. I don't know. Check it out. Check out the listings. Look up Potted Potter. And later tonight, I'm seeing Opium again, as well as X Burlesque. So that'll be interesting. And then tomorrow I'm seeing some type of pet show in the afternoon before I head to the airport. I think I talked about the future plans before. But in whatever the next episode is, I'll probably talk about all of those shows at least a little bit. So yeah, that's it. Thanks for tuning in. Let me know what you thought about this week's SmackDown and 205 Live, and if you've seen any of those Las Vegas shows, by tweeting me at TIW Podcast. Go to TIWpodcast.com for more reviews. If you enjoyed this episode or anything else on the site, please share some links with your friends. Subscribe on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, YouTube, wherever you like to listen, and stay safe out there in all of the infinite multiverses, so I can see you next time here on TIW Podcast. Bye.